Okay, so we are learning how to lanolize, wash and lanolize wool today. So we have our supplies here. We have some supplies. I have a couple of squishes, shorties, because they need to be washed anyway. So you have your wool. You want to set it aside for a second. I have two here, but you only need one, especially if you're doing like one set at a time. I'm just trying to make this process a little bit faster. You need this type of lanolin. I have found that the Medela brand is purified in a way that it doesn't have as much of the lanolin content as this. So this is the brand of stuff that you want. Normally it has a cap on it, but my husband broke it, so we'll just roll on without it. Now, in the container, I use a stainless steel container because the plastic containers in your kitchen can absorb the moisture and it can absorb the lanolin. And so you don't want it to, like, especially if you use it for kitchen, you don't want it to soak in the stuff and then know that your kids' dirty things have been cleaned in something that you're cooking with. So I have it filled with warm water because you don't want to have it be like this shock, this temperature shock whenever you're putting wool into like stark cold water or stark hot water. So I have it in warm water. One of the more gentle ways of doing your wool washing it is to use baby shampoo. And I have the Melaleuca baby shampoo, but that's just because it's super hypoallergenic and it's safer for squish. But you can also use Johnson & Johnson and other stuff like that. Or you can go to the dollar store. They have wool wash for $1. And that stuff is basically Woolite. If you have that at home, you can use it. Just kind of put a squirt in there and then just rinse it around. You don't want to have it sudsy because whatever suds you have in this water, whatever goes into your wool, you're going to have to rinse it out. So you just have to remember that. Just get it enough to where there's some soap in here, kind of swish it around because these are dirty. Now, I don't know if you noticed or not, but I turned these shorts inside out because that's the way that you want to wash and lanolize your pants. Because you want the stronger amount of lanolin to be on the inside of your pants, not necessarily on the outside. Because, you know, of course, that's the inside is what touches the pocket or the fitted or the pre-fold or whatever you have your baby in. So, in this coffee cup I have lanolin that's already been melted into the water. This, I just fill a coffee cup with water because this is my super easy way of doing lanolizing. What I do is I take just about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch of lanolin and I put it into the coffee cup. And I try not to touch it because it always sticks to me, but watch, it's gonna not, there we go. And then put it in for like 2 minutes to where it's super hot. Because you'll notice that it's where it needs to be whenever it forms this circle on the inside of the water. You see that's translucent. It doesn't have a thickness. You can see through it, and that's how you know that it's melted. And you just pour that into the water that you've put your wash into. Now this is just kind of in and out a couple of times. Usually I just pull these aside and I gently squeeze it. And then I will dump the water out into the sink, pour some more warm water in there, put the baby wash in, not even the baby wash if you're just going to lanolize it. And then I just put the lanolin in there. But I put baby wash in this just because it's been a while since these were washed, so I just do it again. But I usually do the lanolizing process a couple of times whenever I wash, just because you want to get a good buildup of the lanolin on it. Because the lanolin is what was taken off of the sheep whenever the fibers were sheared off of the sheep. It's their natural oils. It belongs on the wool, and so you want to get it good and coated. Sometimes one go around is not enough. Sometimes you need 2. So just put your shorts in and pull it out. Put your shorts in and pull it out. Now, I'm not going to lie, I'm super lazy when it comes to lanolizing wool, so I will put this in here and I will set it in the sink so the cat doesn't knock it over, and I will leave it there all night long. I will leave my wool in the sink all night long, sitting in its bed of lanolin water. And the next morning, I'll wring it out. The water's pretty cold. I'll wring it out. Sometimes I'll put a fresh thing of lanolin water in there and let it sit for another couple of hours, then pull it out. You don't have to do it overnight, but if it gets cold, if the water gets cold and you want to let it rest some more in some more lanolin, then just kind of put some hot water in it. Do another batch of lanolin water like what I'm doing right now. Or you can just leave the water that you have in there, since if it's just soaked for a while, you just leave the water that it has and then get the lanolin water that's done. And see how it's made that little circle where it's translucent. Just throw that back into the water to refresh it a bit, and then put them back in there, inside out, let it sit, until it starts to get clumpy. When the lanolin gets cold, it gets clumpy, and it starts looking like it did whenever you put it, you know, when you squoze it out of the tube. And then you know it's cold. So then, when it's cold, there may be like some spots resting on the inside of your soaker. What I do is I just kind of smush them in, because it's got to be there anyway. It's got to be stuck on the fibers. There's no sense in taking it off if it needs to be in the fiber. So I just kind of smush it in, kind of pasty a little bit, but that's okay. Because that lanolin works great for people like with eczema. Squish has really bad eczema on his legs and around on his abdomen. And anywhere that this wool touches is perfect for his eczema. His eczema is always so much better whenever he uses his wool. And so I'm just going to do this temporarily because these are actually clean. These have not been used since the last time they were clean. What I do is I set them on a 2-liter container and I'll set them outside, because if you lay them flat, then the layers are stuck together. It doesn't have a chance to get airflow through them so that it can dry. So I stick it up like this. I have been known to put them on my bicycle handle to let the air just kind of flow through it. And it's really easy. Sometimes it takes a day, sometimes it takes 2. Here in El Paso, it may only take a half a day, but a day or so later, they're dry and they're ready to use. So, super easy.